Good morning, family and friends. Jonathan Ellis here again today with several topics that we're going to be talking about with some of my best, closest, dearest friends and business partners on the call with us. And we are looking forward to jumping right in. You will meet everybody along the path and get to know us a little bit better. So we're going to jump right in as we have 7 questions up for today. Number 1, also number 78, is it more important to do what you love or to love what you are doing? Let's throw this one to Cullen Stack first. I think this will be great.
For sure. So is it more important to do what you love or love what you're doing? I would say 100% that you have to love what you do, and you through the journey of life, through the experiences, the trials, the tribulations, the relationships, the journey of really finding yourself and really honing in on what does make you happy personally and what your ultimate talent and skill set is professionally. When you hit that crossroad where they connect, and it's kind of like an aha moment where fireworks just go off and you say, hey, this is my true strength. This is my talent. I've always enjoyed the journey of where I am now, even the rough times, because we all know that the times that are tough create the experience, the bandwidth, the aptitude, the mental muscle. The brain is the strongest muscle that you have because it's just running everything, right? So I feel like for myself, it's definitely going to be, you have to love what you do and do what you love, because my passion, my dedication, my opportunity where I'm at now came from loving people, loving the art of the deal, being in love with the experiences and being on the road and creating moments that I knew were unique that would never happen again. And being able to mentally bottle that and keep it in that bottle to be able to deploy that passion and that feeling from that experience, I feel is where you have the opportunity to build, right? To create, to give that character of who you are and what you do and what you've experienced, and really share that message to uplift and motivate other people, and to be able to connect and build relationships on a deeper level. So definitely I would say do what you love and love what you do. And that passion, that love comes from really the journey. You got to love the journey.
Very cool. Ricardo, Rick, what would you think? Is it more important to do what you love or to love what you are doing?
What's the difference?
Yeah, that question is that's a really good question. I think you can love what you do without really doing the very thing you love to do, because you do what you're doing to have an impact on the people or the sector that you're in a way that gives you a sense of joy in doing it. So you can learn to love what you do, but that may not be where your passion is. So you're not necessarily doing what you love. And for me, I've done a lot of things that I've learned to love doing, but the very thing that I really feel like my passion is helping people, connecting with people, seeing people succeed, investing in people. That's me doing what I love. And I'm in a space right now where honestly, I wanted to do more of what more doing what I love than finding things to do that I end up loving to do because of the impact I have. You know, because it's my passion and it may not always be in that same place. And that's what I found. I've done a lot of things that I've actually enjoyed doing, but not really as many things that I can say where I'm doing what I love to do. So for me, doing what I love would be more important.
Very cool. Lisa, you had a question, comment, so take it next. Come off as mute.
I don't want to sneeze on you guys, so I muted myself.
Thank you.
So, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is of doing what you love and loving what you do, because I feel like they're intertwined and they go together. And it's important to do what you love, because when you're doing what you love, you're loving what you're doing. Does that make sense? That's how my mind kind of sees it. And it's I guess doing what you love, then I would say doing what you love, because then you love what you're doing. Because I am doing what I love, and I do love what I'm doing, because I bring great change to people that don't understand because of my knowledge with the unconscious mind and how it works. And I bring great change to people. I make them aware of things that they don't see.
Awesome.
Which
All
is
right,
cool.
Dean, let's go to him next so that we can say good morning, Christy, as she walks out.
Oh.
Good morning.
Okay, anyhow, so it's it's an interesting way you phrase that question. It's very interesting because with Lisa initially is what I was thinking too as well. But after hearing Ricardo's answer, that was very good, and Cullen's too. But here's for me what it came down to is they're a combination of both, because they go hand in hand. And this is what I'm saying by this, right? Because you can't do either or. It's an and. It's really what it comes down to. So what I mean by that is this: you got to do what you love. Otherwise, like Cullen said too, it's a combination of everyone here. It's the journey, right? If you don't like the journey, then get off the fucking wagon. That's my French here. Shoot, my son knows I cuss. So if you don't enjoy the journey, then why?
He does.
Stop. But then why beyond that journey? That means you're in a place where you don't want to be. So why even be there? That's why 95% of people in the world are miserable, because they're on a journey that they're not meant to be. They don't love what they do. But now here's the second part though. So I say do what you love first. But when you love what you do, when you do what you love, now you have to make sure you love it. And how do you love what you do? By sharing with people. You know what? If you love what you do, but you can't share it, then it's internal. It's only you. You can't share with the rest of the world. I love what I'm doing right now for what my son's gonna do and what he's gonna become. So that's the journey that I have. So it's kind of it's a journey, but it's also the journey beyond that, meaning that. So number one, I love the fact that I love education. Not the traditional school, sorry, Kate, but the regular education fucking sucks. Okay, that's out the door. Sorry, but I love learning. Listen, I mean, think about it. By show of hands here, who here loves school? I mean, we're all entrepreneurs. Most of us probably didn't like school that much, but we love
school.
Good, yeah. But guess what though? Do you call what we're doing now learning? I mean, think about this. When I was 8 years old, I would never see myself being on a Zoom call or going to seminars. That to me would be boring as heck. I love them now. So to me, so that's the part of the wanting love. Do what you love. I love going to classes, but then loving what you do is now taking that information and putting it out there. So it kind of goes hand in hand, side by side. So love what you do. And the second part is when you love what it is, share with other people. That's how you actually enjoy it. Like, for example, I'm a pilot also. I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm also an avid pilot. I'm licensed in pretty much everything that flies. What I love though is I love flying. It's what I do. I love to fly. That's what I do. But what I love more is sharing that joy of flight with kids, sharing it with people. I mean, I think people in my plane, they light up when they see get in the air. So that's what, yep, that's, there you go. See, my son knows. See, then you understand the love stuff. Jonathan will attest. We're car guys. We love cars. I'm a car nut, right? I think it's cool. When I was a kid, I love to see these expensive cars, but they never let you get near them as kids, right? They say, no, get away, don't get them. You know what? Now, when I'm older, I love the cars because what it is, but what I love more is seeing kids getting these cars and the face light up. That's fine. Oh, okay. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. So that it kind of impounds on love what you do after you do what you love. There you go.
Very good. Ladies, baby, you want it?
For me, this is like a perspective question. I think a lot of us get into it's the doing what you love is usually based on your passion, and you get there. And if we look on the, money side of that, you're not necessarily going to make money doing what you love. Not every single time. However, on the flip side of that, we get into things and then we enjoy them. And so for me, that's a perspective thing of how you look at it. And I agree with Dean. If you don't like it, then you don't need to continue doing it.
Very cool. Jessica?
Well, thank you guys for all going before me because you allowed me to help think about my answer. So awesome answers, guys. Mine is really short and sweet. Pretty much, I think you can love what you do if you have a strong reason why. If you're in a season where you have to provide for your family and you need to go clean toilets to put food on the table for your kids, you're going to love what you do because you have an opportunity to feed your kids. It's the end result. But if I could answer this question the way it was presented, what's more important, do what you love or love what you do, I would say do what you love. Because I spent 20 years in corporate America doing what I thought I loved. But had I had the knowledge and information that I have now in this season, back then, when I was 18, 19, trying to figure my way out in the world, I would have become a cake decorator and life coach a long time ago. So now I know how to monetize. I know how to connect with other entrepreneurs, stay motivated, keep myself accountable to my own schedule, things that traditional world doesn't teach you, right? School teaches you how to show up and finish something, but it doesn't necessarily round you out full circle. So I would say it's important to do what you love first. However, I don't discount loving what you do because it's a means to an end.
Very cool. No. I would say it's most important to do what you love. There may be times in life where we have to do whatever to provide, like Jessica was just talking about, and it's about perspective. You can enjoy doing whatever you're doing because you see, like she was saying, you're taking care of your family. However, loving what you do is so important. For those of you that don't know, I know, Ricardo, this will be news to you. I have owned a particular business for 20 years, and it is essentially non-existing at this point. 2 months ago, I was making about $750,000 a year through that business. Today, I'm making what, 40? So you know, most people would think, how can you be so happy with losing $750,000 a year? I'm not. I wish the money was there. However, I have other things that I am doing, like Dean, like Cullen has said, we're partners on several different businesses at this point. I have other businesses that are going on. I'm getting to follow my true passion of pouring in and helping people with my budding speaking career. That brings me much more happiness than the money ever did. Kate and myself are involved in 7 different businesses right now. And I'm loving that because now I have the mental capacity to actually focus on that stuff that I enjoy doing. The stuff that Dean and I and Cullen and I and Dean Cullen and I are doing together, it is just so exciting. And then adding in the other things that I'm getting to be involved in, it beats the crap out of doing what I was doing. Because even though the money was good, I was really doing it just for that. And I swore I would never work a job just for money. So love what you're doing. It goes so much further. 79, what do you imagine yourself doing 10 years from now? Ricardo, what do you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
10 years from now, what do I see myself doing? The one thing that I do see myself doing is in some way, whether it's coaching or just as a speaker, having a day in and day out impact on people's lives through intentional investments. There's soul care involved in these investments where you care about the person, not just simply about the outcome. The outcome is important, but caring about the person, you know, allows you to invest in them in such a personal way. You know, that's something that I personally wish that I had when I was younger. You know, not having that as growing up really kind of gave me a different worldview. And you know, some of the things that I went through growing up, and it shaped the way that I saw life. and there was not this intentional investment from anyone. Now, my mother raised me, and she did her best to provide, and I love my mother dearly. I think she's the most amazing woman in the world. But there is an investment that needs to be made in someone that goes beyond just day in and day out caring for them or providing for them. And these are things that in 10 years, I'd like to be in a place where I have invested in the knowledge, and then in the opportunities and the people that will benefit from all of these things that I've experienced in life, all these things I've learned in life, the partnerships that I've gained or I've been a part of in life, something like this, where I'm able to be around all these amazing people that have so much knowledge that will help me now take all of these things and bring them together, and then be able to pour these into other people so they now are able to do the same thing. They're able to benefit other people in different ways. So I want to invest in the lives of as many people as possible through speaking and coaching, writing. All these things are things I enjoy doing. And so that's what I see myself doing in 10 years. Where? Don't know, but what I do.
Awesome. Awesome. Take it, call on the next person.
Absolutely. So where do I see myself in 10 years? Married, 2 kids, life, 10 years, I'll be 47 years old, pushing 48. I'll be pushing 48 in 10 years, 48. I really want to focus more on my mental health, my physical health, the pieces of, sometimes we forget when we just focus on the business and on, generating revenue and scaling. But I see myself being more of a public speaker in the education space, 100%, bridging my relationships and knowledge and experiences in the entertainment sector of the industry of the world, and bringing more people over to share their message, share their talent, share their skill set in the educational space, and develop what we're doing, myself, Dean, you, Jonathan, develop more people to become really confident and strong and have the ability to share their message of that, really just that journey of who they are and what they become. Let it be something of, anything from being working on construction or being an architect or a doctor or whatever it may be. A lot of people think that their job isn't sexy and isn't cool. And I feel like it's important to actually show people, well, hey, if there's somebody that's not out there in your niche and in your industry, talking about the success, talking about the trials and tribulations, talking about exactly what you need to do to become successful in that particular niche, in that particular industry, there's an opportunity to become successful from that alone, right? Because there's so many people that need somebody to be their mentor, to look up to, right? And people say, oh, I'm a plumber. Like, being a plumber is not sexy. Well, hey, how many plumbers out there are actually teaching people how to be a plumber? Mm-hmm. How many people actually have a brand, right, that are blue collar, that are teaching somebody how to lay down solar, right? How many people are out there teaching people how to make the perfect truck from scratch, right? Like, a lot of people will think like, hey, my job's dirty, my job's not sexy, it's not fun, it's not sophisticated, nobody's going to pay attention. So that's my goal. My goal is to focus on the entertainment, the branding, teaching people how to build and share their message for an educational product, for an educational platform, and really just build confidence and motivation and uplift people. So that's where we're going from now over the next 10 years. And I'm excited to be on this journey with Dean and Jonathan.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Call on somebody next. You make the choice. We'll just make the choice after we do our spill.
Jessica, I see you smiling.
Because I knew you was gonna call on me. That's why. Right here. I'll answer that question really simply. For me, I see myself living my life unapologetically, having fun and being free. It took a long time for me to truly learn how to love myself, truly I went through a healing process. You know, I laugh and I have these things, these cakeisms, and where I say I like cake because it's thick and fluffy like me, but I didn't always love myself. You know, and that's my little thing. You know, whenever I'm speaking, you need a joke or something. I like cake because it's thick and fluffy like me, and people laugh and they kind of, you know, get lighthearted. But I didn't always love myself, right? The standard for beauty out there is to be thin, to be tall, and I'm short and a little curvy and thick and fluffy. So it took some growing up, maturation for me to be in this space where I'm confident now to be able to speak in front of people, to live out my life's purpose unapologetically. And wherever God has me in 10 years, he only knows the plan. I just have to show up and be in alignment with it. And part of that process is being here with you. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Living life happy, unapologetically in 10 years.
All right, choose somebody.
We're going to go with Teach.
I am actually very excited to see where we will be, and I say we, because we are on this, you know, journey right now of, especially Jonathan and I we're at our legacy building stage, and it's exciting to see all the things. So I'm excited to see what we've done with all our plans and everything. I see Jonathan and I continuing to spend time with our family and build memories with them through traveling, and really just being able to look back and see at all the amazing things we've done on the journey. It's not a destination for us, you know, it is the journey. So it's going to be, what I see in 10 years is the amazing journey we took to get there. I'm going to pick on Lisa.
Thank you. So in 10 years, so I see myself speaking and in my coaching business, really shifting the model, because I've paid for a lot of coaches and I have yet to find somebody to help me apply the knowledge that they've given me. I figured it out for myself, and I want to make that a little easier for people in order to apply the knowledge. I see that. I see myself getting married. I see myself bringing my children in slowly to this entrepreneurial ship, because they're very resistant to the way they grew up, because I raised them the way I was raised. And they're in their 20s now, and we have to change that and take time. Look, I got bushy. And it's going to be an awesome journey, because it already is, because once I let go of living in the past and the anger I had for what I went through, and just accepting it, that God gave it to me as a gift, and stop living in the future of like, oh, I'll be happy when this happens, I'll be happy when that happens, and just like learn to live in the moment and enjoy the journey and the people that I'm meeting along the way. Life completely shifted, and I want to show other people that. So that's what I see myself in 10 years.
All right, choose.
Is anybody left?
There's Dean and myself.
Jonathan, I pick you.
What do I imagine myself doing in 10 years from now? Well, my wife, for one. I see myself being married with 6 kids, and I'm sure the boys will give us some grandkids at some point. And I will be speaking and pouring into a lot of people's lives. And beyond that, I can't tell you how many businesses I'll be involved in, because the entrepreneurial journey is fun, and forming partnerships is fun. And so doing stuff like this is just exciting to me. I see this group that we're doing right now growing exponentially, and we will just make a lot of fun of this and bounce ideas off of each other and learn a whole lot that we can apply to our lives and just have fun doing it. All right, number 80. What small act of kindness were you once shown that you will never
You
forget?
skipped Dean.
Dean. All right, my fault, buddy. My fault.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
What do you imagine yourself doing in 10 years from now?
Is being 10 years younger. And I mean that in a fun way, right? We're all trying to get ahead and get older, right? My goal is to be younger. Is like, listen, is how can I become younger so I can be more with this kid, and create a legacy. At the end of the day, we always think about next year as we get 1 year older, 1 year older. Well, I get 1 year younger every single year, which means that my brain's stronger, my body's stronger, my health is stronger, and my emotions are stronger. So that's for me. Next 10 years from now, I'll probably be playing with Legos again with this kid. Whatever the kid's going to be doing. You know what? With 10 years from now, he'll be 18. So we'll be out driving, having fun racing cars with this kid.
Together.
Exactly. There you go. That's what I'll be 10. No, but honestly, you know what? But 10 years from now, it'll be what my plan is. By the time he's 18 years old, is the impacted at least, my thing was at least 500 kids is what I want to do. 500 kids, in fact, 500 kids' lives that at 18, they have a choice to whether or not they want to go to college if they choose to. They can go be an entrepreneur if they choose to. They can go help other people if they choose to. Like this kid here is what the plan is. I'm letting him choose his path, his journey. So people say, oh, you're giving him a thing. No, he's choosing his own journey, but I'm giving him different paths is what I'm doing. So that's the same thing I want to do is just create different paths for people, but be young and have fun. I mean, Jonathan, I'm a big kid. I'm never going to grow up. I get younger every year, and that's what it's all about, is having fun. Because again, what's the point of going on the journey if you're just going to get older every single day? My view is get younger.
Very cool. And count me in on those car races. I know what you have. I know your son's getting a Bugatti, and some of the cars I'm going after. Yeah, let's do it. All right, number 80. What small act of kindness were you once shown that you will never forget? Does somebody want to take it first, or you want me to call on somebody? All right, baby, go ahead.
So this one is kind of a flipped one. Most of you know that I became a widow, oh wow, almost 7 years ago. And at that time, I was teaching. I was pregnant with Van, and it was right after the Monday after Thanksgiving. So I had been home for 2 weeks, and I decided to go back for only 2 days before we went on Christmas break. It was a conscious decision I made due to having students that were extremely concerned about me. And so I had gone back to work. The day I went back to work was actually the day we were doing our holiday party. And I had a teacher across the hall come in, and she wasn't a lovey-dovey person. She came in and she grabbed me by the arms and said, my room mom forgot to plan a craft. And she was fighting back tears. And I knew exactly where she was going with it. And I said to her, I can understand 2 weeks ago, I would have been freaking out, stressed out, and all of that. And that's what I said to her. And I said, today, I'm telling you, the kids will be fine without a craft. And she gave me the biggest hug. And it was one of those things where I had helped her, but she had brought to the surface to me in that quick exchange, the importance of perspective, and really the importance of bringing to me what is truly important. And it was a less than a minute exchange, but she had shared with me, essentially reminding me that, what truly is important. The kids will be fine without a craft. And that was one of the things that has stuck with me and has been so important in this journey for me. And it was one of the kindest, biggest things that has impacted me that came out of that.
Very cool. Who's next?
Rick.
This question for me is this is a hard one, honestly, because there's been a number of things that's happened over the years that I thought was an amazing act of kindness from different people at different stages of my life. That can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that was unforgettable, and I mean, there's things, that Kate and John have done that has been unforgettable in my life. There's been things that others have done over the years that have been unforgettable that have impacted my life. But the thing that I thought of just now, that at the time when it happened, I remember how it felt, but didn't realize until, years had passed, how much that changed me. And this is from my son. One of my sons, my oldest son, without going into a whole lot of details, because I know we got, we can't talk about everything in our life. I always questioned my ability to be a father, a good father, just because not having one and not seeing one. So, you kind of try to, create the template, it's like looking for a mold, but you're having to create the mold, and you're constantly breaking what you're trying to create, because you don't know how to. And so through divorce, and my kids being separated from me, I had a period of time where I felt like the worst dad because I wasn't there daily like I wanted to be. So I spent a lot of time trying not to be my dad, and I end up feeling like I became him. You spend so much time trying not to be someone that you never learn how to be you. And that's how I felt. And I felt like I let my son down and all of my kids down, but I felt like I let my oldest son down the most because he took it the most personal. And he came up to me one day. This was years after me and his mother were divorced. And he knew how I felt. I share things with my kids without oversharing, without burdening them, but I'm honest with them about life, and he came up to me, he looked at me, and he hugged me, and he said, "Dad," he said, I love you." He said, "And I love having you as my dad. You're my best friend." I lost it. I lost it in that moment, because up to that point, I questioned whether anything I had done, whether it really mattered, whether it had any impact on his life. I felt like I had, but at times, because of the emotional turmoil the kids were going through, at times they had a hard time showing it because they were hurting too. And when he said it to me, it just released so much that was built up in me. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm okay. I can do this, because I questioned it, whether I was breaking them. And when he said that, it released me from that bondage I had held myself in. And so that act of kindness by him, just walking up to his dad and seeing me and hugging me and said, "Dad, I love you. I love having you as my dad. You're my best friend." That did everything to me. That was mine. I know probably too long, but that was mine.
You're fine. You're fine. Well, I love having you as a friend.
Same here, brother. Same here, man.
Choose the next person, Rick.
Oh, let's see. She's smiling in the middle of the screen right now. Jessica.
See, I already know these things. Thank you, Ricardo. That was such a touching story. And to hear such vulnerability from men is refreshing in my book. So thank you for sharing. For me, guys, so I grew up the oldest of four in my family. My parents were teenage kids, and I kind of always developed this thing where I had to be superwoman, do everything for everyone. It's created a cycle of codependency that I had to kind of break in my later years, because I realized I was attracting negativity, toxic relationships, and things that were not good for me. So what I value now, and it's not a specific thing, it's when people care about me, because I'm often the one doing the most, right? I do my cakes, I deliver them, I make sure everybody's celebration is amazing. I even stay sometimes for the events to help out the coordinators with setting up the plates and everything. Like I don't just drop off my product and leave. Like I give value when I stay because I want to make sure everything is perfect. But when someone notices me and says, hey, can we fix you a plate? Or, hey, it's late. Can you just call me when you get home? Because I know you're a single woman and we want to make sure that you get home safe, and it'll ease my mind if I know that you're okay. I'm not used to that type of treatment. So when somebody just reaches out and shows that they care for me in very small ways, for me, that goes a mile. Like it's monumental. It goes far beyond anything you could buy me, anything else, because it just shows that you care about my heart and not necessarily what I can do for you.
Very good.
I'm gonna go with Dean. Dean, you're next.
So, I've been asked this question a lot, and I don't have one person because of the journey that I had. I had a lot of people who impacted my life. So I the number one person will always be the guy man upstairs. That's who impacted everything for me. That's who I was born and raised in a Christian family. But as far as it goes, though, I can't I don't have a pinpoint for just one particular person, because I've learned from a 4-year-old. I learned from a toddler. So the thing for me is that I keep myself open because everyone is someone who's is an impact to my life. I don't care. I've learned from a homeless kid. I learned from my kid when my kid was 4 years old, when light. And by the way, Ricardo, I love what you say, buddy, because my son and I were best friends from day one. He knows, if you ask him right now, who's the guy next to you, he'll say, that's my best friend. If you ask him, when is he your dad? He says, when I don't listen. I said, Kai, don't make me become your dad, because I want to be your friend. I want to be able, because I didn't have a relationship with my dad very, very strong like I do with him. My dad was so busy working. He was an immigrant from Korea, came here, worked 3 jobs just to put food on the table. So I saw how it was hard not having dad around, right? My dad wasn't there. So that's how I got into a lot of trouble. But my son right now is not. I was born, just long story short, I was born in California, but I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Grew up in Inglewood, California. All the guys that I grew up with, either African-American or Hispanic. So, I learned the street hustle very quick, and I know it very well. So people say, oh, your son's so smart, he's gonna outsmart you. He never will. He was smart, but never a smart dad, because he's not raised on the streets. He may be book and knowledge smart, but he ain't gonna be street smart. I'll teach him that little by little. So, when we were sitting at light one day, there's a homeless guy at the thing, and Dad goes, Dad, you got to give the guy money. And I'm like, I looked at my wallet, and unfortunately, all I had was large bills. I said, Kai, I don't have any small bills right now. He goes, Dad, you have to get, and the light just turned green. I'm like, thank you. So the light turned green, and my son starts screaming. He's 4 years old, screaming, saying, Dad, you got to help that person. I said, Kai, all I got is hundreds right now. That's all I have. And he goes, doesn't matter. I said, I'll tell you what, this is my money, not yours. But I'll tell you what I'll do instead. You have $100 in your piggy bank at the house, right? It's all you have, pretty much. He goes, if I give this to them, you got to pay me back. He goes, that's fine, Dad. I said, interesting. So I go back there, gave him the money, the $100 to come, and her eyes just lit up. I'm like, wow. And my son goes, see, Dad, you just made her day. And I'm like, wow. And I almost was literally almost in tears, like, wow. And I'm like, Sky, just out of curiosity, that's amazing. He goes, where did you learn that from? And he goes, you, Dad. And I was like, wow. Okay. I was like, because I always give money to people. I'm like Cullen. I've seen Cullen too. Cullen's always giving out hundreds to people all the time, that guy, right? So so I was like, wow, Kai, that's good. And I said, Kai, you know what? He goes, my son's so smart. He's got to make fun of everything. Dad, he saw how I go, I'm proud of you, buddy, because I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Dad. I said, good. He goes, Dad, can I ask you a question? He goes, what, Kai? Do I still have to pay you back? like smart ass kid, right? I go, no, dude, you just made an impact. So basically, to answer your question, the long story is this: so everybody can impact your life if you allow them to. That's what it comes down to. Everyone will impact your life. The problem is that most of us think that they don't know the knowledge, they don't have the money, they don't have this. The reality is that everybody can impact your life. So, John, to answer your question, I cannot pinpoint one person. It's just too many people in my life to get me who I am today. Because you think about it, the more people who've gotten ahead in life. I'm not saying that I'm any different than anyone else, but is that the people who've impacted my life have been a lot of people who have been wealthy, and a lot of people who have been broke. And I think that's why I say it's just a combination of all. So can't pinpoint one, man. Don't have one.
Awesome.
Okay, my son.
Awesome. Who's next, Dean?
Let's go with Cullen.
So I agree that there's been hundreds of moments in my life where somebody's done a good deed for me, let it be small or big. And I feel like in the moment, regardless of what that support is, emotionally, physically, financially, it's really not about how small or big it is. It's about how it uplifts you and how it helps you. So an act of kindness, the one that's probably stood out to me the most in my life, and again, been many. I don't think any of us would get to be on this phone call where we're at today if somebody hadn't helped us, emotionally, physically, financially, all of the above. And I think that's why it's so powerful too, to pay it forward consistently every day, every week, every month. Let it be a little bit of your time, a little bit of your knowledge, a little bit of your wisdom, a little bit of your money, whatever it may be, to help that person, to make them stronger, smarter, and faster, right? And just to encourage them to keep going. I would say when I was a young boy, one thing that stood out to me the most was we were in Carmel, Seaside, Monterey Bay. I was with my father and mother and my older sister, Sean, and I was probably 7 years old. And we were on the beach on a weekend. My dad was active duty Army. And we were living on Fort Ord at the time. This is way back. This is early 90s, very like 91. And so we're on the beach and it's very duny. Anybody that's been out there to Monterey, Carmel, Seaside, the ocean's very rough. It's not like the beautiful Florida crystal clear waters. It's the Cali Ocean, as we all know, it's very rough, very choppy. And we were out there flying kites because it's great for kites, right? Very windy, and it's a weekend. And I remember my dad, soldier. He's at that time probably the best shape of his life, mentally, physically, emotionally. He was in his mid-30s at the time. And we're flying the kite. We're having a little picnic. It's family time. And I remember somebody literally just popping out of the water, right? And swimming up and like crying, hysterical, like, hey, our boat's sinking, our boat's sinking. We need help. We need help. How the heck this person got in, I don't know. My dad instantly drops everything, looks to my mom, says, hey, run up the hill, call 911, right? And this takes some balls, right? My sister's 15 months older than me. Myself, we're on the beach. My mom runs up the dunes, leaves us. My dad looks at me, takes everything off, right? And says, I'll be back. I love you. And jumps in the ocean and starts swimming out. And I'm getting a little emotional because it's crazy, but it's crazy good. And he swims out. Boat wasn't that far out, but he swims out and tries to save the other person, can't save him, grabs another person. There's two other people out in the ocean, grabs the one he can save and brings him in. And I remember being a little kid on the beach and him doing CPR, helping this person. And then ambulance comes, police come. And, it's like, it's kind of traumatic. You're a child, but I'll never forget, the character that my father distilled in me to always help people, right? No matter what it is, if you have the ability to do it, and some people may think it's extreme, to put your own life at risk, but, being a servant and him especially, I can understand now as an adult in the mindset of, being an active duty soldier. And that's part of your soldier creed, right? Is to always help, always have people's back, always, be selfless, have integrity, be, selfless service is part of the 7 Army Corps values, is selfless service. So I would say that probably for sure, character wise and saving somebody's life had the biggest impact on me. And then being able to meet the family of the people later on and have dinner with them and go to their house even though I was a little kid, you never forget that stuff. So that definitely taught me a lot about, just caring about people. And so I've always, to this day and for the rest of my life, I'll always look out for people. And, if I can do something to help somebody, I always will.
Awesome.
And that you do, Cullen. That's you, buddy.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. He's a great guy. Great guy. Great story. Great story. So who do you want to hear from, Lisa or me? First, you'll hear from both of us. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay. When I was, I want to say around second grade, I remember this, and that's a long time ago.
That far back?
Yeah.
I'm just playing with you. Go ahead.
And
Lisa.
my mother was throwing me a birthday party, and my mother, get this, my mother was throwing me a birthday party, and I was doing all the work, which is fine because I wanted the birthday party. So she sent me to the store, and I went to the store with my friend. I have no idea what friend, but I remember going to the store with that friend, and I added wrong, and I didn't have enough money. And the man behind me paid. And that was the first time, oh God, that I knew strangers were nice. That people I didn't know were kind. It was so beautiful because my family didn't portray that. They were afraid of everything and everybody. And this man just paid. And I was very grateful. I thanked him. And then, we went on our merry way, but it was so beautiful because my family didn't teach that people you didn't know were kind. They were scary. So that was kind of cool. And he helped me to pay it forward to other people. I can't tell you how many times I'm in the store and the person doesn't have enough money and I just give it to them. Whatever they need. Just because that man did it for me. That's what I got.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm in the same boat that all of us are in. There's so many acts of kindness. It's a challenge to put it down to one. But as I look at the screen and I see all you guys, I have one that really stands out. You see, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, however long ago, I went through a divorce. And that was the most traumatic thing I had ever been through. I come from a Christian home. My father was a pastor for a while, so divorce was just foreign. And I swore I would never divorce. And well, I did. And I'll tell you, divorce isn't always a bad thing. Moving on from that, when I went through that, my biggest thing, and just being transparent with you guys, there were two things that I was scared to death of. One was losing my kids. And just an update, I have full custody of them. Number two is I would never get laid again. Well, I'm not really on that, but I'm good. But seriously, the small act of kindness was in my upper right-hand corner on this screen. And I was down. I didn't believe in myself. I had given up on pretty much everything. And here comes along Kate. We met on Zeus on an online dating thing. And I still say she fell in love with the shirt I was wearing that day. But hey, it worked. She believed in me when I didn't believe in me. I did everything I could do to run her off. She comes from she's all right. She's had a good upbringing financially. She's had a really good upbringing financially. And when we met, I lived in a Walmart parking lot in a vehicle. And I told her that, and I knew that would be it. I knew as soon as I tell her this, she'd be like, oh, get out of here. But she didn't. And she continued pouring in and believing in me. And I had really essentially let my business go at that point. I don't know that letting it go is what I did. The divorce just, it kicked my ass. That's all there was to it. And then for her to come along and believe in me, gave me the faith in myself, and it took a while. Gave me the faith in myself to go out and pursue my dreams. And that's why I could choose that one over all of them on this particular call, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be going to the campus of Free Chapel that I'm going to, which means I would have never met Rick. I would have never gone to the next level a little over a year ago, which means I would have never met Lisa. I would have never met Dean. If I would have never met Dean, I would have never been at the other guys' seminars, which means I would have never met Cullen. I would have never met Jessica. So, I mean, that one's an easy one to pull out on this particular call. So that is mine. We're only going to have time for one more because I know I have a meeting at 10:30, and I have a feeling that at least two other ones on here have a meeting at 10:30. So we're only going to do one more instead of finishing off all 7. But that one more is, what is your happiest childhood memory and what makes it so special? What is your happiest childhood memory and what makes it so special? And I see Jessica's jumping through the screen to go.
Listen, I'm a little project kid from Brooklyn, New York. So my parents, when they decided to move to Florida, and I could see some palm trees, finally, that was the best thing in my life. I remember I'm writing a book, and there's this chapter that I'm writing about how fear, the first time I felt fear. It was when I was 2 years old, and we lived in an apartment, and we're going down the staircase to go to the first floor, and she's like, don't touch anything, don't touch anything. Like, she grabbed my hands, and I felt fear that I was doing something wrong by just touching the banister to go down the stairs. And I didn't understand why. I'm 2 years old. But then I look back and I see these crack bottles and I see these drugs on the staircase, and I'm realizing my mom is protecting me. But that feeling of fear, I always remembered it from, I traced it back to that one specific instance. And we lived in a place that was, it was just low income, and I came from humble beginnings. But when my dad, finally, he had enough, he rented a van. It was with no notice. He took all of us in the van and we just started driving. I'm like, "Pa, where are we going?" "You'll see in a little bit." So I saw palm trees, I saw beaches, I saw everything that I love right now about living in the South. And I'm so grateful. I mean, I love New York, I love the city life, and I'll always be a city girl at heart because I like excitement and all of the things that go with entertainment. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful for my parents making the decision to give us a better life and to show up in our full selves and have purpose, because I don't think I would be in the same place had he not made that decision. So that's it. Next person, we're gonna go with Cullen. Cullen, you're next.
All right, that was an awesome story. Appreciate you sharing. Best childhood memory. Whew. Fortunate. Yeah, again, my dad was active duty Army. I was born in Korea. I was born abroad on a U.S. military base, and little baby, so I couldn't really remember that far back when we came to California. My first place I lived in the U.S., but definitely traveled a lot by the time I was 15. And I would say one of the best memories while my parents were still together was going on a family trip to the Grand Canyon with my father, mother, and my oldest sister, my younger sister, and my younger brother. And I was probably 12 at the time. And I remember being able to do more, we had a lot more family time. I think it was about 5 days. I'm looking back in my memory, it was almost a week trip. And I remember, staying at the cool hotel with the Indians and the performances, and going on the airplane ride over the Grand Canyon and doing the helicopter and all these cool things that, at that time, I probably hadn't experienced yet. Right. And it was just cool because I got to do a lot with my older sister, and we were very close in age. And then to see just my parents enjoying themselves which honestly, my dad was always gone. So I never really got to see a lot of that. Right. And at 12, you start to be more mature and, you know, you start to appreciate that family dynamic more. At least I did. Right. I started at that age, I started to have happiness and kind of comfort in that circle, that dynamic of being able to do things with the family, not just being able to do things by myself or with, you know, a friend from school. So I would say that would probably be the most memorable time. And the reason that it was the most memorable time was because, you know, we had more family time together and actually was able to experience some really cool, unique things, right? From seeing the Grand Canyon, the plane, the helicopter, those experiences I'd never had in my life. I really enjoyed it. And then just the culture, the food, the history. I've always loved history. So being able to learn a lot and go to all the different museums. So that'd be the one for me.
Very cool. Who's next? Rick, you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. This one, I can throw a blanket over my childhood. Honestly, because trying to narrow this down to a single moment is virtually impossible for me. As generic as it sounds, just being able to spend time with my siblings was everything to me. You know, because at a very young age, in '79, my youngest sister was killed while we were playing. I was 2 or 3. And, you know, this happened basically right in front of me, maybe 4 or 5 feet away. And so from that point on, my siblings, for me, they became everything. My time with them became everything because I was always thinking about what if this happens again, you know? And it was traumatic, of course. It took a long time to get over it. But from that moment on, every single moment I had with my other brother and sister was, to me, the most amazing moment. You know, all the things that we did, no matter whether we were making dirt pies. I mean, I didn't eat them, my sister did, but whether we were, you know, playing in the creek, or when we lived in Clearwater, we were down at the beach. You know, these are things that I enjoyed, not because they were, you know, just this great, amazing thing where we went over to Egypt or we went some amazing place or we spent all this money. Just the fact that we were together and we could do this together. We could play in the sand together. We could jump in the ocean together. We could eat together. We enjoy just being with one another. That to me is everything. And so my childhood, anytime I got to spend with my siblings, doing anything with them, even when we fought together. So that to me is the most amazing thing, just being able to have my brothers and sisters with me and just to enjoy that time together.
Very cool. Awesome, awesome. Who do you want to hear from next, Rick? All right, baby, take it.
Like Jonathan shared, I had my family was well off and when I was growing up, and so we did a lot of family traveling. Both my parents worked very hard and to provide the life that we had, and so traveling became our way to unplug and be together as a family. And I will say that my best memory was when my parents took us to Austria, and me and my sisters got to be on the steps where they filmed The Sound of Music, and me and my sisters sang the song as we were coming down the steps, and it's something I will always have. And it's just one of those memories that always brings so much joy to me, because my dad went out of his way to plan for us to be there so that we could always have that experience.
It's awesome.
Dean.
So this is actually a weird one. It's a tough one because I was thinking about that for a while. Because you know what? Because my childhood wasn't always necessarily the greatest thing. You know, it was tough because my dad and mom came in from Korea with nothing, so they were working their tails off. So they weren't around much. So I remember for me, it was literally just getting in trouble. I mean, if it wasn't, I mean, I remember. I'll tell you right now, my weirdest memory is that 5 years old burning down a house. Like just over Kai's age, I burned down a house. Walking back home from elementary school, picked up a newspaper and we had a lighter and we threw this paper on a guy's porch and burned down the house. I don't know what 5-year-old does that. And then getting in trouble with all these kids growing up. I mean, I remember, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Straight Outta Compton. And that is that movie with Ice Cube and those guys. And there's a thing called Skateland, that movie that where they played NW played. I remember hanging out there and causing trouble. So it's funny. So for me, my childhood memory is something that I try to avoid with the plague. Is because it's not who I was and where it's been, because it's obviously who I am today. But I also thank that because that's who I am today, of the troubles that I caused, the pain that I caused people along the way. But if I were to pick one, Kate, something you said like really hit just hard. It was really funny because one of the things we did was this. So when my dad, when we got older, when my youngest brother was born, he finally became an awesome dad. Like, Mike, so listen, I always say that I grew up rich and poor. And this is what I tell everyone that I meet. I grew up rich because we had a very good family. Just because my dad wasn't around doesn't mean he was a bad dad. He was an awesome dad. He just had to work his tail off. So I'm not saying he was a bad dad because he was the greatest dad ever. Just that he had to work. He could have done more if he could have. That's why. So when my brother was born, I saw him progress with my sister, a little better, and then with my younger brother. So if you ask anyone, you'll ask Kai, what's my only toy that I had till I was 12, 13 years old was Winnie the Pooh. So if you ever look at my things, you'll see Winnie the Pooh hidden someplace. I don't tell this to many people. It's somewhere in my vehicles, wherever there is a Winnie the Pooh hidden someplace, whether it's a sticker or something. Even everything I have has something. You just got to look for it because it's memories, right? That's the only toy that I had really growing up. But what I do, my memory though, is seeing my dad be able to relax more when my brother was born. And so the thing was that Kate, you said earlier was that we did a Europe trip. I think I was 15 when we did a Europe trip. And the most amazing thing I remember in Europe was sitting in Austria at the Sound of the Music House. When we were there, that's when you said, I was like, holy shit. So I'm glad you said that because you know what? It made me smile. I was like, I don't know how. But yeah, sitting at the house in Austria, watching that thing across from the lake, because it's on the lake, right? It's on a lake, you can see it. It was amazing. And seeing my dad so happy, with my mom and my brothers just having a blast. And I remember because that day we had just gotten done looking at a bunch of cathedrals and we're bored out of our freaking minds. We're like, this sucks, right? I was 13. I wanted to go see some fun, right? So so that's the day I really clearly we were just walking and my dad goes, we're gonna go somewhere new today because we were on tour. And it's like, whoever's seen Sound of Music, and we all had seen it, right? We're like, oh, cool, something finally fun. And so it was a 3-week trip throughout Europe. And for some reason, the only thing I remember was Sound of Music House of that time. So that's my memory there. That's kind of cool. Thanks for bringing that, Kate. That was awesome.
Very cool. Lisa?
So when I was very young, when I was like 6 years old, we went on a cruise. And back then, when you went on a cruise, you brought your whole family with you. And you brought your whole family with you. They weren't going, but you brought your whole family with you. They went on the boat with you. You had drinks and, well, I'm a kid, I don't have drinks, but you had drinks and you ate and you had hors d'oeuvres and everybody came on the cruise with you. So it was like a great big party. And then they would announce that everybody had to get off the boat and then they would get off the boat and then they gave us all these streamers. I couldn't throw it far enough, but they gave you streamers that you would throw the streamers to the people on the deck, your family, and then you would hold the streamers across from each other. And as the boat pulled out, then all the streamers would break. And that's such a cool memory because you don't take your whole family on the cruise anymore, because you can't do that, but it was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Very cool. My happiest childhood memory is memories. It's really vacation time. We would go down to Orlando a lot and do Disney. We would hang out here around Atlanta and do Six Flags, things of that nature. But really just making those memories. And anybody that's been around me any length of time has heard me say, make memories and make them count. I think that that is like one of the most important things. That is the number one thing that I learned through divorce, is to make memories and make them count. And I will do every single thing in my power to allow my children and my wife. My big thing now is to take her places she's never been. And that is my challenge, and it's fun. But my thing is to make memories count and just allow my kids to experience things that I wasn't able to allow or able to experience. And that's no fault of anybody's. I mean, it's just a thing that thankfully I am in a situation where I can provide memories for my wife and my children. That's right, guilty giddy, yeah. And that's the big thing, is the memories of being at Disney and going these places with my parents and my siblings. And we were, Kate, what were we in Orlando for, or for Disney just recently? No, it was after the Mastermind. And there is a race car, go-kart thing. I don't want to say race car because they only go like 2 miles an hour. But anyway, there's a race car thing that we pulled up to, or drove, or walked to, excuse me, because we were inside the park. And as soon as I walked up, I remember being there with my parents many, many years ago. And that's just it. And it just like some of the happiest moments of my life now are when my kids will say, "Hey, Dad, we went there, we've been there," when we see it in the movies. That's it for me. And that's what really does it for me. So that is it. And next week, we will be back with more great people, these same people and more. This is growing and we're very excited about it. So we will see you again next week. For all of those that are watching, leave your comments below and let us know your answers to these questions. Remember, you are loved. Together, teamwork makes the dream work. We will see you next week. Goodbye for now.